Okay. So thank you for being here today. We're doing a PCAHA Q&A here for the U15, U13 Female District High Performance Program. I'm Matt. I'm going to be the moderator today, and we're just going to go around the horn and have everyone introduce themselves.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Marilyn Fortin. I live in Bedeck, PEI. I go to school up in Northern Ontario in North Bay, and I play for the Nipissing Lakers. I've been here for, it's crazy, but this is my 5th year here. Just grew up playing minor hockey in PEI, and I'm also part of the Swiss national team program as well.
Perfect. I'll go next. I'm sorry, Sophie. I'm Amy Boudelier. I'm also from PEI. I'm from Charlottetown, a bit bigger city than Maryland, but not too much. I play at the University of New Hampshire down the States, and I'm also a 5th year.
My name is Sophie Van Dale. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, but I play for the UPI Panthers. I'm going into my 5th year as well, and I'm a defense.
Awesome. So starting out in your careers, were there any hockey players or certain individuals that you looked up to heading into your career?
I think like we probably all can agree, like the Canadian national players were always like a big influence. When I moved to Switzerland when I was 18, I started looking up to a few other Swiss girls that I had watched, and then just I got to play with, who were like, I was 18 and they were like 30, and they were the Marty's twin sisters. I have a twin sister, so it was just like they were the coolest people ever, and that's why I always say my role models were Julie and Steph Marty.
I have to agree with you. Like, I used to always watch like the female hockey team play, but also the University of Manitoba. Some of those girls would come on the ice with us, so that was really cool for us, a cool experience when we were younger.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, definitely like some of those national team girls. Shannon Zabados is a big one for me because she played boys all the way through. I was the same. I played boys hockey right through grade 12. So that was, definitely seeing a female goalie playing on the men's side and then transitioning to high level on the female side was big for me. Also, being from a small place, looking up to, some of the girls that made it to maybe the NCAA or some of those higher levels. Sarah Steele was a big name for me growing up. She's only a few years older than me, but, definitely someone that I could see going through the process that I was trying to go through as well. So that was cool to kind of have somebody that close that, I could kind of try to model my path after as well.
So you mentioned having to play for the boys teams and whatnot. Just on that note, what sorts of challenges have you three faced along the way in your hockey careers?
Yeah, go Soph.
Well, I would just say like we could probably all agree that we all moved away to play hockey, so that was like a big change in our life. Like I moved across Canada and I didn't know a single person coming to the island, so that was a challenge that I had to face personally. Also, I played boys hockey growing up, so I never had other girls on my team, which was kind of tough. But obviously I got through it, and then I switched over to girls later on.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough. I had twin sisters, so growing up, we always had each other on the boys team. But once we got older, like I'd play boys hockey my whole life if I could, but it reached an age where you had to pick and choose. And then, like Soph said, moving away and coming up to Northern Ontario and not knowing a single person was definitely tough. But once you get up here and get in the groove of things, it turned out to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think like these two kind of said it all. One other thing, for me was being from such a small place, trying to market yourself. So it's tough, when you're from a small place, like schools, especially from the US, probably aren't coming to watch one single player playing in PEI. So like learning how to market myself and like network with other coaches and like trying to kind of weave my way into their scouting books was definitely a challenge and something I had to learn along the way for sure.
Awesome. If you ever felt like discouraged or a lack of motivation, how did you kind of rekindle that and continue pushing forward?
My big thing, and I harped it to myself long enough now that I've started harping it to my team, is when we got like down on ourselves or like we started playing bad, is you always remember like what made you fall in love with the game and just go back to like that little girl like falling in love with the game, and then you realize why you're there and why you show up to the rink every day. And that's what I always do, is just kind of go back to why you do it. And it shouldn't be a chore. It's, you love to come to the rink every day.
I'd have to agree with Marilyn on that one. Like obviously we're all playing the game for a reason because we love it, and we have to like remember not to dwell on the little things. Like if we're having a bad shift or something, you kind of have to reset when you have a bad shift and realize that like you're playing this game for fun, and like you should be having fun the whole time you're there.
Yeah, that's 100% like something that I've kind of switched to my mentality from being like just serious all the time to like remembering that it's a game, and like you don't get this mad like playing board games with your family. Like, well, I kind of do, but like for the most part, it's supposed to be fun, right? So if you're not having fun, like you kind of need to take a step back and like go back to like, yeah, why did you start playing the game? Like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? And if the answer is like not that you love it, then like maybe it's, you know, time to step away for a bit and try to regain that, rekindle that. But also it's kind of cheesy, but I'm like a big sayings kind of person or quotes kind of person. So like if I'm having, you know, I always have stuff like taped up in my locker. Sometimes if I'm going through like a little rut, I'll put like a little piece of tape on my blocker, like on the inside, so I can look at it. And then also like this big Andrews hockey thing, shout out to them, but the piece of paper above your bed, I still have that. I'm 21, I still have that. So it's the, you know, the first thing that I see in the morning and the last thing I see at night, and that's my big dreams. So definitely important to kind of have those visual reminders sometimes too.
Great. If you could go back and have a conversation with your 14 or 15-year-old self and give yourself a piece of advice, what would that be?
Ooh.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it. I'm just thinking.
I was just gonna, you know, kind of build on what I just said, but like have more fun. Like at that point, I was like so serious, and my life was like 100% like I need to work extremely hard to get to that next level, and that's a super important part of it. But also like at the same time, just be like, okay, I'm doing this because I'm having fun and I love this game, and not be like so hard on myself. And just kind of try to like have more fun with the journey, because at that point I was so like that was the only thing that mattered, and I wasn't really enjoying the process as much as I was like stressed out by the process. So like really just enjoying it and being like, wow, this is really cool. This is really fun. And, you know, kind of trying to go back to that instead of just being super anxious and worried that maybe I wasn't going to get there.
I'd have to agree on that. Just to touch on that, I also played a lot of different sports, which I would kind of encourage girls that are 14, 15 years old, play other sports and meet other people, and like make sure you still have a social life and it's not always about hockey. Have friends that are outside of hockey as well, because they have other interests too that you may be interested in as well. So that's just my perspective on it. And I wish I maybe opened up my circle a little bit more when I was younger.
Yeah, definitely those points too. And I think a lot of people think at 14 or 15, if you're doing really well in Bantam or under 15 or under 16, whatever it's called, you think you're just going to get recruited right away. Like there's so much more. You're not getting recruited at 15 years old. Like you have to reach out to people, like Ava said, especially if you're coming from a small town. You can't just assume that there's going to be a bunch of scouts at every game, or you can't assume that no one's there watching, right? You always have to like work your hardest every time. And you have to feel like you don't have to feel, I don't know how to word it properly, but you have to reach out to people eventually. Like they're not all going to come chasing after you. You got to step out of your comfort zone and talk to people you don't want to talk to.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a perfect segue to my next question, actually. How do you get exposure to be scouted to these post-secondary programs, and what kind of opportunities are out there for these girls?
I mean, the sky's the limit right now. Like women's hockey is, you know, expanding faster than a lot of sports are. You know, definitely I decided to go the south of the border route, and, you know, these two girls decided to stay in Canada. So I think it's, you know, it's a bit different, but the principles are kind of the same on both sides, where it's, you know, if you reach out to people and you start to get your name in their head, and like they're going to be more apt if they see you on the ice. They're like, oh yeah, like Ava Boudelier, she sent me an email a bit ago. Or, you know, Sophie Van Dale, I saw her name somewhere. Somebody mentioned her to me. So like getting your name in their head, because otherwise you're just, there's so many, especially now, there's so many good female players. So otherwise you're just a player. One thing specifically that I did is I made up kind of like a hockey resume when I was younger. And it was basically like every team I ever played on, my stats, if I had them available, even like tournament MVPs or tournament player of the games, like everything. And then like my grades, like I was in like grade 7 or 8 at this point, but like my averages and everything. And I would like send it to schools. And, I know on the NCAA side, they're not allowed to like email you back, but they still see those emails, and they still, like, I talk to my coaches now, like they still read those emails. And then if they see you at a showcase or a tournament down the road, they're going to think, okay, that's that kid that, reached out to me a while back. They must be really interested in pursuing their dream and pursuing the next level.
Yeah, just like Ava said, and I had mentioned earlier, like you can't assume you're going to get to your dream school by them just showing up to one of your games and watching you play. Like there's so many unbelievable female hockey players now. Like you need to get your name out there, and you need to showcase yourself wherever you can.
Yeah, I would have to agree with those girls too. Just fire out the emails. Also do your research on which schools have your programs too. Like you don't just want to send out emails to all these schools and then they don't have the program you wish to pursue. That's like a big one, because you're going to kind of waste your time if you're just sending it to every single university. Also sending like videos of you playing as well, so they can kind of get a glimpse of what you're like, especially if they can't come watch you play. If they're not coming to watch that showcase, that tournament, just get your name out there. And then they can also see you through that video.
Awesome. You've all had long, illustrious careers so far. If you could pinpoint one of your favorite moments, what would that be?
Well, our team got the opportunity to host nationals. We didn't actually like win to get to nationals, but we got to host it. And I thought that was like the coolest experience ever. We had like a full crowd, which was amazing to see, because you don't see it that often yet in women's hockey. So to get to see that and see a bunch of young girls in the stands cheering us on, like I felt like a really good role model to all those young girls. And just the atmosphere was like amazing.
The awkward sound of who's going to answer next.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to like make the Swiss national team when they were supposed to host the Worlds in Halifax. So the 2 weeks that I made the team and before the pandemic hit, that was pretty cool. But I didn't get to play, unfortunately. But honestly, like one of my favorite memories, it's kind of like Soph, like we had a playoff game my first or second year playoffs, and there were so many people in the stands and like a bunch of little girls running around the rink, and just like the feeling you get when like they're giving you, like we had to put gates up when we were walking on because there were so many kids like wanting the fist pump, and you just feel like you're making an impact in the city and on these little girls. And even if you don't win the game or win the series, it goes a lot further than the winning playoffs. And that's probably been like, since I've been to university, the feeling of the like being a role model and stuff has definitely been one of my highlights.
Yeah, that's definitely like something for me too, is like seeing kids come into the rink, and like we always do like jersey auctions and stuff, and like seeing kids wearing your jersey or like other people on your team's jerseys, like that's like a really cool experience. On the ice, like definitely had a couple really, like we've always been kind of a middle of the pack team. Hopefully this year we ascend a bit, but sometimes when we upset a number one or a nationally ranked team, that's always exciting. I remember freshman year we beat Boston College, and they had 4 girls that are currently on the national team that's at Women's Worlds right now. So beating them was really, really cool, especially as a freshman goalie. Then the feeling in the dressing room afterwards was kind of like we could do anything. And then on a personal note, probably anytime I've been able to go to a national team camp, that's always just a really cool experience, and being able to kind of hang out and compete with some of those girls that are really at the top of the game, and some of those girls that you can watch on TV tonight during the Women's Worlds. That's like really cool, saying that you were with those girls and you were at least competing at the same level as them.
Awesome. Along this ride, how have you been able to balance everything, hockey, school, work, social life, and what tips can you give to these young girls?
I think it's honestly been trial and error these past 5 years. I took a different route. I went to Switzerland for 2 years. So I took school off completely for 2 years. And then I think I got a little comfortable when I came back. And it was definitely a big adjustment getting back to school. But now I think it's kind of, they could probably agree, it's come kind of in second nature. You go to school, you play hockey, you train, you're doing so many things, and it's kind of just become our regular routine now. And but definitely like your first and second year, it's a little crazy trying to balance your 4 or 5 classes and practices and workouts. And since we're up in Northern Ontario, we do a lot of bus trips. We're on the road Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, most weekends, and it's just a lot. But you find a routine, and you live with some roommates, or you guys all find a routine together. And I think it takes a little bit, but once you get in you know, get to know your body and get to know what you can handle, I think it becomes just a part of your life.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely trial and error, especially coming out of high school. I took like a lot of courses in my grade 11 year, and then grade 12, I kind of had a lot of spares. And so coming into high school, coming into university was a big adjustment. But I'm big on like agendas and stuff like that. So I plan everything out, write everything out so I can see it. I know that's what helped me organize everything. And I always make sure I find time to hang out with my friends, because I know how important it is, and to FaceTime my family at home, because like that's how I like find my support when I'm out here.
Yeah, kind of to build off that too, like I'm a huge list person. I got like a million calendars and a million lists all the time, like everywhere on my phone, in my binders, like it's just everywhere, so that I know exactly what I have to accomplish in a day, every day, and kind of sit down and make a schedule for every day. Like it's definitely hectic, especially when you're in, you know, either your undergrad or your master's. I know Sophie and I are both in our masters now. No, Marilyn, are you?
Nope, get through that undergrad.
Oh, yeah, okay. But you know, whether it's master's or undergrad, it's, you know, all the same. It's still hectic, and but kind of just taking it one day at a time and trying to figure out like, here's exactly what I have to get done before I go to bed tonight. And then just checking those things off one by one. That's, you know, the way that you got to do it, you know, especially in season. It's a grind. You just got to go day by day and try to get all those things done. So
Awesome. Just in terms of the actual hockey part, like what do you need to do off the ice in order to keep your mind and your body in the top premier shape that you can?
I think since I'm a bit older than Soph and Ava, been around a bit longer. When I was younger, I wanted to just like train. Like my first 3 or 4 years here, it was just like weight train 4 days a week, and my body would be destroyed by the end of summer. And I've slowly, and as you get older, you read your body a lot differently, and you're starting to learn what your body can take and what it can't take. And this summer, I really focused on mobility and just taking care of my body. Weight training is still definitely one of my main sources, but the game has changed so much, and it's not just strictly weight training anymore, and different speed drills and cardio. And I like to skate a lot in the summer and stuff, just kind of staying on ice shape and stuff like that. But I think as you get older and you start to read your body differently, like my training definitely changed since first and second year. Now I'm in fifth year. It's a lot different, and I feel probably the best I've felt in a lot of years, just doing different things to take care of my body, and when I need a break, take the break, because nothing is worse than showing up to camp and you're burnt out because you trained so hard all summer with no breaks. So it's just kind of reading your body and doing what you need to do to keep it in the top shape.
Definitely agree with that. Listening to your body is like huge, especially when you get into university. Another aspect that I always focus on is my nutrition. I find it's like a huge factor in my game and my practices and training. If I don't eat well, I can definitely see it on the ice. So we work with our nutritionist, and she gives us things that we can eat, which are really good before a game kind of thing. And also sleep. I know it's like, doesn't seem like a big thing, but making sure you go to bed early if you have a game the next day is really important. I know it can be really hard sometimes because you want to stay up and like watch that extra show on Netflix or something, but you really got to force yourself to go to bed sometimes at that 10:30 or something like that.
yeah, for sure. I know, I think these girls kind of said it all, but you know, same thing for me, Marilyn, is like, I've had a few orthopedic surgeries at this point in my career. So taking care of my body is a huge thing for me. One thing too is that, you know, I try to take care of my body outside of the hours that I'm at like weight training or that I'm at ice. So like if I just go on the ice and then weight train and then go home, like my body just at this point in my career isn't going to be able to bounce back quick enough. So whether it's, you know, I have a little Theragun that I use, or foam roll at night, or just mix in like a 10-minute stretch or something, like little things like that will kind of go a long way and help you, especially when you're in a 36 game season and you're practicing 2 hours a day. You know, you kind of need those little things every once in a while, just to keep the body fresh.
Awesome. Again, you've all played for a long time. You've all made a lot of sacrifices, whether that be with time, social life, you know, moving away from home. Has it all been worth it?
Wouldn't change it.
Me neither. I've created so many memories and so many friends that I would never change it either.
Yeah, 100% worth it. Like, wouldn't change a single thing about it.
Awesome. Do you or any of you have any pre-game superstitions?
I think the goalie is the one that needs to go first for this.
I was gonna say, should the goalie in the group talk or?
Listen to your list.
Yeah, no, you know what? I used to be a super weird goalie. I'll put that out there. Marilyn played with me at Team PI a few times, so you know I used to be a super weird goalie. But I've tamed it down a bit. I've tried to kind of drift away from the superstitions. I call them a routine now. Makes me feel better about myself. So, you know, I just try to keep the same kind of schedule on a game day, I guess. I find for me, like having a solid routine is something that helps me feel comfortable on a game day. But I try to avoid things that, like, if I didn't do it, I would feel like I was going to have a bad game. So I feel like that's kind of the line between like superstition and routine. When I was a kid, I was absolutely insane. Like I remember one year in playoffs, we were winning and I made my parents wear the same clothes to the rink for every game. Like I'd let them wash them in between, but like I was like, no, like you were wearing that pair of jeans, Dad, you're wearing that pair of jeans again tonight. Like, so trying to kind of switch away from that and like not be as like high strung about those superstitions has helped me a lot. But definitely like I have a huge routine of things and my game days usually look pretty similar. But I try to allow some flexibility in there in case things don't all go to plan.
Yeah, I agree. Like sometimes I'm pretty light, pretty free spirit, as my mother would say. So I like Ava said, there's a few things that you kind of just do naturally now, like every day, like every game day, like if you put your left skate on first and then your right skate, those kind of things that you wouldn't even notice are a routine, but you just do it. I know like some of like, if we're on the road and we don't get to the rink on time, there's a lot of panic. And I just try to keep everyone calm, because it's when, like Ava said, it's like the superstitions when things don't go the right way. And then you have that fear that things are just going to go south real quick. I think it's important just to keep it light. I don't really do a lot of superstitious things, the handshakes with a few of my teammates. But every year it changes because there's new players leaving and stuff. And I think my main thing is I do the on ice warm up pretty well dead on every single time. And our coach here at NIP, he played in the NHL for a lot of years, and he tells us that if you did put a camera over like the NHL warm up, it'd be the exact same on each team every single night. And the hardest thing he found trading teams was trying to find a rhythm into a team's warm up. And without even realizing, I think our team and I do the same thing every single time, how many shots I take or where I go up the ice. And it's just kind of natural. If I don't do it, I wouldn't panic or anything, but it's just kind of a routine now.
Yeah, I'd agree with you guys as well. I try not to have like superstitions per se, but a routine, and make sure that everything that's in my routine is something I can control.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the bus thing, I can't control the bus. If it's late, it's late. So I can't be upset and that can affect my game. Also warm up too. I have the same kind of routine. I shoot on my goalie, and we have a routine where we have to get like 5 good shots on both sides before we can move on and do anything else. and just something like that. We also go for a coffee before every game, but we plan that like way before. So that's also something I do. Other than that, I don't really have many superstitions because, again, I don't want it to affect how I play if I don't do it.
So say it's 30 minutes before puck drop. How do you mentally lock it in, get ready for the game? Whether that's something you do individually or as a team?
Like I said, I like to keep things fun and light. So I'm usually on music, and some girls like, maybe I'm not sure about them, but they like put their own music on and get in their own vibe. And I just kind of keep everyone light and having fun. I think if we get too tensed up and too, that's just me personally. But like some people need to like dial it in, and I'm just more like let's have fun for the next 30 minutes and go play some hockey. I don't know.
I kind of agree with you, Marilyn, as well. I kind of like to keep it fun as well. You have to remember that we're playing a game because we love it. And so we can't be too serious at some points. Obviously, some games are a lot more intense than others, and you'll feel the nerves. I obviously feel nerves every game I play because I just love it and it makes me so excited to play. But I think by like playing music and just chatting with your teammates makes it a lot better. More excited to play.
Yeah, same for me, actually. I'm Marilyn, I might not believe this, but now I'm like super loud and super smiley and happy before games. I used to be super serious and way too dialed in, and I found that now just playing fun and having fun and smiling on the ice and things like that work for me. So 30 minutes before, I'm kind of just like chatting up my stallmates and like, I don't know, just whatever's going on in the dressing room, I'm a part of it. And that's pretty well it. Just, listening to good music and having fun.
Moving into a bit more detailed in the game, say you have a bad shift, bad turnover, you let in a bad goal as a goaltender. How do you push through that, get refocused, and get ready for the next shift?
I can start on this one. I was really bad on this quite a few years ago. I dwell a lot on my bad shifts. And so I was talking to my sports psych, and he kind of gave me a thing where I had to find something in the rink or on me that it's like my focus point. So let's say it was like the button of my stick. Every time I'd have a bad shift, I would kind of get on the bench and I'd look at my button, and it kind of refocus me. I'd forget about that shift and start again, because if I dwell on that like bad shift, I'd play the rest of the game just very poorly. And so I just put it past and I'd start again, and it'd be like a new game.
Yeah, our mental coach had the same thing. A couple years ago, we kind of like the term park it. So like you parked it and then just moved on. Like it's going to happen every game, pretty well every shift. Something's going to go wrong. You don't want it to, and you can't dwell on it. And you just gotta, it's life.
Yeah, that's me too. I used to be such a dweller. And then I kind of developed like a little routine that kind of snaps me out of it. So let in a bad goal, I just skate to the corner. I force a smile on my face. And then I tap my pad twice on my stick, and it just kind of like flushes out the bad goal. Like my goalie coach last year, he'd always say like, you got to be like a duck. And like ducks, how the water always runs off their back. It never like gets through their feathers. It always just runs over their back. So that was me. I was like a duck with a bad goal, just ran right off. So that's the secret. Be like a duck.
Be like a duck. I love that. What are your individual plans for after school in terms of your hockey careers?
I plan on going back to Europe for a couple of years and playing maybe over there. And then I hope to pursue a career in coaching at any level, really, preferably a university level, but maybe a prep school and teach and coach and whatnot.
Yeah, I would like to go play in Europe next year, and then as well as do my master's. I'm in the Bachelor's of Education program right now, and then I would like to pursue my master's afterwards. So maybe do both of them at the same time. We'll see how it goes.
For me, I think I'm going to be done. I got a lot of hip problems. I'm a goalie, so it's not a good combo, but I have med school aspirations. So right now I'm in my master's of biochemistry. And so I'm going to finish that up and then hopefully head to med school somewhere back in Canada, and then move on to be a medical doctor someday.
Great. the three of you have been kind of on the front lines of female hockey here. You've seen how it's been expanding. What can you say about like what you've seen in terms of how it's been growing?
I can start here. So a lot of my teammates, past teammates, girls I've played against have gone on to play in the NWHL or the PWPHA. And I think, talking to some of those old teammates, like that, those leagues are growing so exponentially right now, and the interest is also growing so exponentially. And I think that that's just going to continue, especially, by the time that the girls we're chatting with here are at that age that, I think that the opportunities are kind of endless for women's hockey right now. So it's exciting. I wish I didn't have bad hips, and I wish I didn't have med school aspirations, because I'd be right in there like a dirty shirt, but that's the way the things unfold sometimes. But yeah, it's exciting. I can't wait, as a fan of women's hockey to watch in a few years.
Yeah, definitely, Lynn. Like, Soph and Ava agree. Like, when we were growing up, I was going to the NHL till I was like 18, because that's all we had to dream big on, was going to the NHL. And the guys always made fun of you or laughed, but there was nothing really else. And I remember me and my sister and one of my friends, we were going to make the NWHL. Like, we were going to be like the founders, and we were going to make a women's league. And it's so great to see that there's so many different options for females now, and it's just only growing. And hopefully the Canadian League can, or the PWHPA can get a league, and we can get females paid at the proper salary and stuff. But just watching it grow, and we've been watching the Worlds a lot here. It's been on every day, and just seeing like that high level hockey, it's been awesome to watch.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with these ladies. Also, we all like grew up playing boys hockey because there wasn't as many girls hockey teams. And now just looking like in Prince Edward Island or back home in Winnipeg, there are so many young female teams, and it's great to see. And like the level of compete is amazing. And so I think hockey is just going to keep growing, which makes me so happy to see, because hopefully we can make careers out of it, like actual careers out of it, where you can get paid quite a bit of money.
Great. So I think we've burned through pretty much all the questions here, but I want to leave on this. If you were face to face with these girls in a room right now, what piece of advice would you give them?
I think we've kind of said it a few times. We were maybe all a little hockey crazy growing up, and we, like Ava said, I think so said, like, broaden your friend groups, play sports. You can love hockey as much as we did and as much as you want, but hockey isn't going to be your life forever, unfortunately, for females anyways. Hopefully maybe by the time they get our age, it might be. But like Soph said, pick a school that you're going to get a good education at, and play hockey for as long as you can. And just my big thing is always have fun. I'm a huge believer. It's not going to be fun if you're not having fun, and you're not going to win if you're not having fun. So that's I'm the fun guy everywhere I go.
Marilyn loves fun.
I do.
For me, I'd say just enjoy the process. Like these years, like 14 to the end of high school, are really cool, especially like when you're being recruited and stuff like that. And just try not to get so stressed out by it. Like, this is a really cool opportunity that like a lot of people will never have, like at any point in their lifetime, where like people are actively wanting you to come play for them. So enjoy that process, like have fun with it, talk to as many coaches as you want, find the right fit for you. Don't get caught up in like the big name schools. Like, for example, like if Wisconsin's talking to you, and yeah, Wisconsin's the #1 women's hockey program in North America, probably, but if Wisconsin's not the right school for you, then it's not the right school. It doesn't matter if they're '1. Maybe you have to go to a middle of the pack team like UNH or UMaine, or, one of the smaller schools. Maybe that's a better fit for you. So, try to enjoy this process, have fun with it. It's a really cool time to be a hockey player. And yeah, just have fun with it.
I would have to agree with the girls as well. We got to have fun. I had some of my best memories like growing up playing hockey, and like just obviously enjoy the process. Let hockey help you get education as well. So if you want to go to university, let that help you get your education to your future career, because that's like the goal for all of us right now, is just to get a career, and hockey is helping us get our education. And so, yeah, have fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, you three, Marilyn, Sophie, Ava. I really appreciate the time that you took today, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon here.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good girl.